Welcome to the Pointy End. I'm Keith Sutherland. Today my guest is Ann Landsberry. Welcome, Ann.
Morning, Keith.
Now, she's the Executive Officer of the Community Foundation for Victoria, so it's a big title, but before we talk about the Community Foundation, tell me a little bit about your work history, because I've had a look through it and it's very impressive. So, yeah, just tell us about that, how you got to get this role, and you're only new to the Executive Officer role.
Well, I'm actually an engineer, Keith, and I've spent 20 years in the utilities industry in the UK and then in Bendigo. So I used to manage the company that Colburn Water outsources its operations and maintenance to. And so I unblocked the sewers in this area and fixed the leaks and ran the treatment works and collected the billing information and did the lab samples. And that was a fantastic job. I did that for 6 years. And during that time, I fell in love with Bendigo, with the community, with the places, with the people, and decided I wanted to stay. So when that job finished, I started up my own business, doing leadership, management training and consulting. But I've been passionate about our local community and have had a huge community involvement. And when the opportunity to work with the Community Foundation for Central Victoria came up, I just thought, oh, how wonderful to have a job that combines my interests with community, with my passion, skills and experience. So it was a great combination for me.
Well, there's certainly been passion there, because I've known you for a few years now, not that many,
you
but,
have?
and 5 years at least, because you're involved with the community farmers market. Just gone 5 years, and congratulations on your 5th birthday. It's just happened. That's an incredible achievement, and you've got yourself really involved with your family as well, I realise that. And you're also a blogger. Now, the blogger interests me, because I try and do a little bit of blogging myself, but what got you into that area? Because with your engineering background, the previous role which you did at Colburn, and I know it's not a sort of sexy job to talk about, but someone's got to do these things, and obviously it's done very well. But the blogging, what sort of areas do you sort of write about that?
Well, it does all make sense to me, my career trajectory. I mean, when I was working as an engineer and looking after a big company, what I found was that my technical skills and my know-how wasn't what you need to lead an organisation of 100 people. You need to know how people work, and you need to be able to understand the community. So I got really interested in neuroscience and how people work and how you can apply that. And from my understandings about neuroscience and how people's brains work, I realised that all diets are destined to fail because of the way that our brains work. And I thought that this was such...
Tell me why, because I'm yo-yo dieter.
Well, as soon as we're deprived, we start to think about the thing that we're deprived of. There's a famous experiment where you ask people to don't think about the white bear. And the first thing that everyone does...
Thinks about the white bear.
They think about the white bear. So as soon as you have any diet that says you shall not eat chocolate, 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 chocolate is all your brain starts to hear. And we're designed to not be deprived. And as soon as you start to deprive yourself, then the thing that you're deprived of looms large in your brain, and you're really likely to binge on that. So the path to a healthy diet is moderation, is to eat fresh veg, is to eat local fresh veg, is to cook the food yourself, is to cut down on processed food and not go for these sort of sexy detoxes or cleanses or fad of the moment diet. Is just to have a moderate diet where you eat the food. And I don't think that's, again, it's not a very sexy message, is it? You can't put it on a t-shirt.
It's an important message though, isn't it?
And that's a message that I really wanted to try and spread, that you don't have to do this cleanse, you don't have to do the challenge. If you eat well, if you eat veg, if you cook it yourself and you enjoy your food, and you cook that food and you enjoy it with your family, you're on a path to good health. And so that's the message of my, my blog.
So, okay, well, that's a very interesting exercise, because we went off track here, and which I'm very pleased that we did, because you've given me some valuable lessons. Because I'll have to tell, don't eat sweets, don't eat sweets. So I have to get that out of my brain now.
A little bit of what you like will do you good, especially if it's a block of the dark chocolate. I like a latte,
that's the trouble.
The one with salt, oh, it's fantastic.
Now, back to the topic, Community Foundation. Now, did you know anything about the Community Foundation before you were appointed as executive officer?
I think all I knew really about the Community Foundation was the glass slipper ball, because that's its premium event that the foundation has run for the last 2 years, in 2013 and 14, has raised a fantastic amount of cash for the Sydney Haven project, and I'm sure you've been involved in that
Sydney
as
Mire
well.
Haven project,
Sydney Mire Haven project, yes. And so that was really all I knew going into it. But having had the job, really getting to understand much more how the Community Foundation exists to strengthen our community. There are a lot of fantastic donors into the Community Foundation, and then the Community Foundation grants out that money in a lot of different ways. So last year, grants went to Food Share, they went to Saltworks, they went to individual scholarships, and the Sydney Mire Haven project that I spoke about.
With the Community Foundation, because I remember when it was first formed, and it was back in the
2002.
I was just going to say, because I've just had Damien Drum, he was 2002, and I had a feeling that yours was the same time, because I went to that first meeting, and it was really interesting to listen to its aspirations. Now, 2002 to 2015, a lot has happened. The organisation has reinvented itself, it's grown, and it's become a very vital cog in this community. So you've come in at a really opportune time when they're raising a lot of money, as you said, from that glass slipper ball. My wife and I were unfortunate enough, or lucky enough, to be involved in the first one, which was the biggest nightmare of my life, because I thought I was a bit of a dancer, and I realise I'm not a dancer when I have to follow these movements. But anyway, having said that the organisation has donated an enormous amount of money. So if you and I just run through some of those statistics with me on what's been involved, because I think it's gone under the radar in Bendigo, and people don't realise just how big the Community Foundation has been.
I think you're
and
right.
Still is.
I think you're right. I think we have been that quiet achiever really in the background. But I think that we've donated and distributed nearly $500,000 over the life of the Community Foundation. And only last year we distributed and donated $72,000 back into this region. And we've got bigger plans, of course. We're here to strengthen our community, and we want to work to help everybody get on board so that they can do their part in strengthening our community. So that, I think that everybody in our community can be a philanthropist. It's a hard word to say.
That is philanthropic or philanthropist. I won't go there again. I'll muck it up.
And we'd love to broaden our support and invite more people to join us in workplace giving, giving from wills, individuals giving, setting up their own funds. There are fantastic ways that you can give to the foundation, which is a very tax efficient way of giving, which you can then be sure that the money will stay in this region and will go to great local causes. Now,
you mentioned that 70-odd thousand last year went to the Haven Home Safe project.
That was the total. 50,000 went to Haven Home Safe. The others went to other local fantastic projects.
Now, I didn't realise that you were also, having said all these other things that you hope that people can donate to, but is that message getting out there? Because I think I hear and see a lot of things going on, but that message to me is perhaps not out in the community, and that can be part of your role, obviously. I
certainly hope that will be something that I can achieve with the help of our board. We've got a fantastic board at the Community Foundation led by Penny Wilkinson. And I think that message of who the Community Foundation are and how you can get on board to support us. And I think what we can do is tell our stories. One of the grants we gave last year is to Friends of Castlemaine Library. And they support the children of parents in Tarrangower Prison. And they've got an amazing scheme, which is Read Along Mums and Dads. And what they do is they get those prisoners to read a story and record that on tape. On digital, I should say, and then they take that recording and they give that with the book to the child of the parent who's in prison. So that child can hear their parent reading along to them at night and can read along with that book and encourage them. In some cases, that's the only contact that child's having with a parent. And that's just a beautiful project, that we're so proud that we can give to those small projects that make a huge difference to individuals in our community. And I'd love to, us as the foundation was able to tell those stories, spread that about, so we don't just give the big dollars to the big projects, but those small dollars as well that really make a difference.
When I heard that, I thought, what a wonderful idea, and something that, as you said, it's not a big project, but it's a very meaningful project for those people that are recipients of it, obviously both sides.
And the coordinator, she's an amazing woman. I mean, she says a lot of the participants struggle with their literacy. So she reads a line and then they record that and she edits out the interface so that you get a seamless story coming through. It's just a great little project and a great story of a community that's making a difference.
Now back to the glass slipper ball, which is probably a big fundraiser each year. Is that on again this year?
Well, here's your scoop, Keith. We're going to be
That's
giving
what we always want on the Pointy End. We like to have the message first up.
We're going to be giving that the glass slipper ball a rest this year while we look at those other areas that you've already alluded to in terms of looking at our broader picture, telling our stories, inviting broader involvement in the community. And then we'll have to look at where that leaves us the next year.
I think that's probably a good idea because I have had a partial involvement in the last 2 years and I think it's not a project you can do every year because there's a lot of pressure on poor people that have to dance and I wouldn't like to be asked again. Now, in your new role, obviously you're loving what you do because it's a part-time role and you can still do all those other wonderful things that you're doing with your blogging and the market, the farmers market, etc., etc. But in the first place, I sort of tried to grasp how a person that was worked in Blackpool in England, lived in Manchester. Did you get the position in Bendigo? Did you see it advertised and that's what brought yourself and your family to Bendigo? How does that come about? Because it's a big it's a big project to think coming from United Kingdom, even though we have United Kingdom weather today. But yeah, it's a big thing, big move.
Wow, Keith, I was on a career break from my job in the UK where I was an IT program manager delivering change projects. And I was driving around Australia in a camper van with my husband and my 3-year-old when I got a call from the company that I worked for, United Utilities, and they said, "You're in Australia, aren't you, Anne?" I was like, "Yeah. There's a job in Bendigo. Would you like to apply for it?" And I was like, "Bendigo, where?" Anyway, long story short, I got the job. And just as I said, it's a great place. I mean, really, you have to live in other parts of the world to appreciate all of the wonderfulness that is Bendigo. And the community, the people here really have a great community. They support one another, they put in huge amounts of volunteer hours, and they make things happen themselves. It's such a dynamic and vibrant community, and one that I'm so proud to be part of.
Well, you're a great asset to the Community Foundation. Not just that, you're a great asset to Bendigo, and I think it's wonderful. A person that comes from England sees all the attributes that Bendigo has to offer. It is a wonderful community place to bring up children. They do things in Bendigo, and it's just got a terrific community spirit. But you and your husband and obviously your family are loving being here. We love having you here. But thank you so much for appearing on the Pointy End today. Keep up the great work, I know, because I've been hearing great reports since you've been at the foundation. And it's not only that, all the other things that you do for Bendigo. So thank you, Anne, for appearing on our program today.
Thanks very much, Keith.